Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan will meet China's top two diplomats, Foreign Minister Wang Yi and the Communist Party's Chief of Foreign Affairs, Yang Jiechi, in Alaska today. But China is not holding overly high expectations from the upcoming talks, and it also doesn't expect the initial round of talks to resolve all the issues between China and the U.S. Chinese ambassador to the U.S., Hu Tiankai, has said that China is, however, hoping that the talks will pave the way for better communication, adding that the talks would be successful if it could initiate candid, constructive and rational conversation.
我认为双方对这次对话还是相当重视的。这几天我们都做了很多准备。 当然，我们并不指望一次对话就能解决中美之间的所有问题，所以我们对这次对话也没有什么过高的期待或者说幻想。我认为任何国家之间的这种对话沟通，一个最起码的、最基本的前提，就是双方应该有平等和相互尊重的精神。你刚才提到的几个问题， 都涉及到中国的主权、领土完整、国家统一，在这些核心利益上，中方没有任何妥协退让的余地。这个也是我们将在这会谈当中清楚表明的态度。如果认为单方面或者找了几个别的国家给中方施加压力，中方就会妥协，就会让步；如果认为我们为了这次会谈所谓有成果， 就会答应任何一方的单方面要求。我劝人们最好放弃这种幻想，这种态度只会把会谈引向死胡同。
Focusing on Beijing's assertiveness of its territorial claims against Taiwan, Japan and in the South China Sea, the talks are expected to focus on trade, human rights in Tibet, Hong Kong and China's western Xinjiang region as well. The U.S. has accused China of withholding information about the origins of the coronavirus, the first cases of which were detected in the central Chinese city of Wuhan late in 2019. China says it provided information in a timely manner and has suggested that the virus may have been brought to Wuhan from overseas. Meanwhile, a Bloomberg report has indicated that if the first high-level US-China talks are productive, Beijing will seek a meeting between Joe Biden and Xi Jinping next month. The Biden-Xi meeting could be organized around Earth Day on the 22nd of April to show both leaders are focused on combating climate change. But China's foreign ministry has denied any potential meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and US President Joe Biden. We are being joined now by our correspondent Susan Tehrani from New York for more on this. Good evening to you, Susan. Good to have you on the broadcast. Now, what do you gather on the meeting schedule, and what is the mood in the U.S. administration ahead of this meeting?
First of all, we've heard competing remarks from both sides, really signaling a rift of the expectations from this meeting. Antony Blinken, last week when he was testifying between the Foreign Senate Relations Committee, said that this is not a strategic dialogue. A spokesman for the Chinese Foreign Ministry came out and said shortly after, China, invited by the United States, will have a high-level strategic dialogue. So that's where they stand in going into this meeting, although, as you mentioned, both sides don't have any expectations. What we are hearing is that the outline of this meeting is not very concrete. It will take place tentatively over a period of 2 days, 3-hour meetings on during each day, and 10 officials from both sides will be at that meeting. Usually during these diplomatic encounters, both sides share a meal. There won't be a shared meal between officials from both countries during this meeting in Anchorage, Alaska. And it's going to be, quote-unquote, strictly business. The United States wanted to move forward with China from a position of strength. That's why it chose Anchorage, Alaska, U.S. soil as its meeting. No agreement is set to come out between the two sides, no joint statement after the meeting, and we'll have to wait and see, how much more we learn about this one-off encounter, as U.S. officials have termed it.
Right. Now, Susan, at this juncture, one can say that the sticking points, from geostrategic to human rights to trade, far outweigh the common grounds. What is the assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. The United States has said that this is by no means a negotiation. This is basically to call China to see whether or not it's willing to step back from a lot of its policies regarding trade, human rights violations, and its misadventures, notably in the South China Sea, to see whether or not they can move forward. You have issues like, not sharing a meal is probably one of the least concerning issues, and tension points right now. You have trade, human rights, Hong Kong, Taiwan, the Chinese misadventures to the South China Sea, and then you have the issue of COVID-19 and the coronavirus pandemic, which originated from China, and there hasn't really been accountability or any information on the part of China's officials or the Chinese government on what really happened at Wuhan. Another issue was that, according to U.S. law, people traveling to the United States need to take a coronavirus test. Just to let you know that how things are very miskewed between the two sides. Chinese officials sort of took issue with that, at least until late on Wednesday night, on Tuesday night. So, that's where they stand. A lot of issues, a point of contention, but also I think China is a little nervous because the United States is really moving towards this discussion from a position of power after negotiations with Quad members on the part of Joe Biden and other leaders in the Indo-Pacific region.
Susan, thanks for helping us make sense of that and unpack the upcoming meeting. WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.